Director Stanton.
Present.
Director Fleesy.
Present.
Director Carrillo.
Here.
Westerly WLFEA Directors, Director Russell.
Here.
Director Webb.
Here.
Director Buss.
Here.
Director Holbrook. Director Sting.
Okay, we do have forums for all three agencies. Any public comments?
No.
Thank you. We would like to open a public hearing on our new civil service rules. Are there any comments for the civil service rule? And what we're doing, our current civil service commission pretty much decided that they that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just
It's
have
a new
it.
state law. Did Linda not hear us? Linda said, she's saying that she can. Linda, can you hear us?
I can right now, but it keeps cutting in and out. I'm missing most of it.
We'll try and talk louder. Let's just postpone it for another month.
Great.
If you want to look at it, you can certainly do that. It doesn't, we still have rules and regulations that.
Right.
We're fine. So,
And attorneys can do their thing.
Okay, consent agenda consisting of the meeting minutes from February 27th, staff reports and correspondence. Would any director like to pull something out of the consent agenda for discussion?
I'd like to pull the minutes out, please.
The
The minutes.
minutes, sure. What would you like to talk about on the minutes?
Minutes. I can do a Zoom share here.
Yes. Are we trying to get it on the board? I think everybody has. Right. So you want to share? If there, yeah,
Down here, yeah, doesn't see the option to share within the.
no, but just put the up arrow, so it should give you an option to share with somebody. There you go. Wait, click that. Okay. So you should be able to pick share. Is it just the minutes? Because,
Where I have it. Presentation here, but, so, test.
well, there's your screen, and we're not seeing any,
The screen, okay.
so video.
Back to.
Your camera on?
Screen, so
Oh, yeah.
where would be my screen?
It's not seen. There you are.
Screen share. Zoom. Zoom. Stay clear. I don't have to. So I went to there.
Jefferson and. Very. What comes second? I'm not too.
Let the record show that Dr. Holbrook is there.
Present.
I already caught him. I got it down.
I just got it there.
Like the sunglasses. Before it was becoming kind of as sharp.
They're Holbrook sunglasses. Yeah, they're right. One of my buddies got one.
Share about that. I'm sorry.
That's the actual branding.
Yeah.
Now they're open.
Yeah.
Style. Okay.
Holbrook style. I don't know why, but I don't care.
Appropriate.
Does not have
There's
shares.
the share option, it's for anybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all participants. Good. Try to have multiple participants at one time, we'll see. Yeah, see what happens.
I mean, you guys don't want the screen, it's just like. You added a, give them the share button. You try to hit the share screen.
Can you send that to Mary? So she,
Want something right now, send it up to send it to you or?
no, to,
You can't access their email, it's too on Holly's computer.
Send it to you.
I don't have a computer. I think about it as a carpool.
You're gonna just send it to me and I can run down and put it on a thumb drive.
It's either that or somebody else logged in, and be sure it was somebody else that we log in, we might be able to do it, but I.
What,
Log back in, you can meeting number, coming that way.
No, the Zoom link on the WLFEA side.
if you email it to me, I can go down and put it on it. Thumb drive.
Yes. That's true. So that's who you're locking up to keep.
Crosswise. Yeah, for their mobile. Adjustable smooth board. And then you can go to what they call a fan. That's probably. Yeah, there is no. And the flow rates with GPS.
Yeah.
Well, 185 GPM, 50 PSI. Yep, and they swear that. They also have a backflow resistor down here that Jeff says they're unbelievable. He says, and a lot of droplet. Oh, he said. Really.
Yeah, let's see if we can do the screen this time. Share. Do it this time.
I don't know what we do.
Display on the apps. Who cares about that?
But that's not Zoom stuff there, right? That's all.
Nope. When you do that, says it does. So we try to.
Crappy, yes.
We're not gonna fix it this year, but.
Okay, let me just email it. Who?
Well, you definitely can.
I'm connected, I'm not. Zoom is allowed, everything's allowed there. Let's see if I can. Stop sharing, I'm supposed to be sharing right now. Wait a minute, that's me right there, maybe. I think that's, I think I got it. Okay, we are.
Can you turn down your volume on that or the microphone?
I've turned the microphone off, I'll try it again.
Looks like we got the technology working.
I think so. All the other commissioners, on this job, I think that's-
Scan what you have there, all right. Back to the minutes. The sidebar first here. We now have a mandated requirement to be undergoing public meeting law training. I need to change my, use on minutes. Has anybody here else completed that requirement?
On more than one agency.
Good, because, only needs to be done once during the term of office. This was recently implemented, made available. Fortunately, at the conference, there was the opportunity. And so I went ahead and met my obligation. And during that meeting, more what was brought up that has to do with the minutes. Is ORS 192.650 specifies specifically that the results of all votes in any board which is less than 25 members must be identified. The use of unanimously passed or all in favor passed, a majority passed is not proper. And apparently this section 192 has not been changed at all in the past 25 years. In our minutes, we've been using passed unanimously, passed by majority. Now requires that each person be named for, against, or abstaining. And that change needs to be reflected on the minutes. Now, since historically, this district has been doing minutes, saying that unanimous and majority passed. I would suggest that not to change it to this meeting minutes, which would require me back to the video recording, to go ahead and make sure that anything in the future, it specifies, it practically requires a roll call vote for everything. And that is the real law, which we are bound to follow. Thank you. We go forward.
Any other items from the consent agenda that could be up for discussion? Hearing none, other than the comments by Director Stanton, consent agenda is adopted. There's gets back, we'll do monthly.
And can you stop sharing?
You should be able to. Okay, there you go.
I'm handled. There's only 4 more months left of the year, just so you guys know. Coming up fast. All of, let's see, for SVFR, the general fund, we're pretty much at 100% of the budget. The only thing occurring now, in that, the budget for the agency is the transfers to WLFEA. For Fund 2, we have the 450,000 budgeted. We are still waiting to hear about the grant. We don't want to expend those until we hear for the grant. And then Funds 3 and Funds 4, the transfers will occur at the end of the year. For Western Lane Ambulance District, it's pretty much the same thing. The only income that we're still waiting for is the private pays for ambulance. And there's one item I wanted to point out in the general fund for miscellaneous grant income. And you'll see a large amount there. That was the grant that Wilker received from Peace Health. It went into Wilker's account, and so we had to do a transfer. So that's pretty much, LifeMed is gearing up, so we'll start seeing some activity in that fund here shortly. Other than that, I really don't have anything for you unless you have questions for me.
Question on Western Lane primarily, but You mentioned it, the timing of the transfers seems to be a little different year to year, so we have some swings on the balance sheet account balances. This year is to the plus side for Western Lane, negative on WLFEA. I think it's a timing of monies transferring between the two. Is there going to be, or should there be a scheduled transfer so that we can see? Yeah, maybe a date certain when transfers occur, or is it transfers as needed or as billed?
So this past year, we had all the funds transferred at the beginning of the year, so all of our dry period funding was in WLFEA already. That's where we held all the money, and so we didn't start pulling until, we went through that money first, and now we're starting to pull. And so I plan on doing the same thing,
I would suggest for future that there's some timing consistency, so when we're comparing balance sheets, we're comparing apples to apples to see trends.
okay,
If we see, you know, year over year, we've got a $1.5 million swing between ambulance district from the year before. I know it's going to WLFEA, but does the regular public that comes through and looks at this, they're how can they have so much more money now than they did last year? So maybe a scheduled transfer regardless of whether there's actually aid money.
we can do that, we just have to hold money. If we're gonna start that between January or July, and that's, we just have to hold it in, SVFR, Western Maine to do that. And we can, there's something that prevents us from doing that.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just we're gonna hold the money.
Yeah, and I'm just, my own concern, I'm not concerned about the public, I'm just concerned about the public looking at it and saying, kind of,
Yeah, we can do that. And then to answer your question from last month about the
Yeah.
rate, so I got an answer.
what they said.
So part of it is when the money comes in for the option levy or the local levy and then the permanent tax rate, it comes in all together. And so we have to use percentages to break it back out. And I think staff here just have been using the same percentage, not realizing that those can change from year to year. And so that was part of it. We were using the wrong percentages. And then the other part is that oh, Snarkies. Oh, the measure 5. Percentages don't play into that whole option, so that's just a small portion, so that's where we're just seeing a little difference between the two.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions for Trish? Old business. Had three old policies. Any questions or comments on policies, please let me know. New business, we have. We're buying a new ambulance and we should have an agenda bill.
I didn't know.
Okay, we are buying an ambulance, we figured total cost at $250,000, we did budget for that. I think it was $190 plus equipment. This is the transfer rate, correct? No? Maybe, so it's not a traffic.
It is, yeah, thank you.
Oh.
That's why I asked you.
So it has been budgeted and it was approved by the board in the budget. We just need board approval to sign a contract for that amount and what's the lead time?
8 to 10 months.
8 to 10 months.
And the equipment's in Western Lane, so you think it's.
It'll be Western Lane Ambulance District.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by
Purchase of the ambulance as described.
Second by Dr. Paul. Mary, any further discussion? It would be Vermillion Red. Mary, can you do a roll call?
Yes. Western Lane Ambulance Board of Directors, Director Russ Yes.
Director Webb,
Yes.
Director Bus,
Yes.
Director Holbrook,
Yes.
Director Stent.
Yes.
Okay.
No sense.
That's okay. Director Stent, did you, she's in.
Years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Was that a yes? Okay,
I call it a yes.
Don't.
thank you. Okay, next item, open a new account for Booker.
So, the Wilker program, they are, starting to bill, bill's not the right word, bill for, services, and it's all going through, a financial platform called
Paceman.
Payspan. And so, because that Payspan is going to be attached to our checking account, and many can go both ways, I don't like that. So we would like to open up an account just for that Payspan to access. Currently, they're only receiving like 2 or 3 cent checks. But that way we can also, reconcile that account rather easily when insurance monies come through. So we would like, an approval to open that account with the same signers that we currently have on all of the checking accounts. And then we'd also like approval to open up the Payspan because it is a financial system.
So you need 2 motions or?
2 motions.
Okay, first motion is to open I think checking,
Yeah, and
a bank
a
account.
bank
I'll
account.
make a motion to open up a new account for Western Crisis Response.
Motion by Director Bus,
Is this WLFEA?
yes.
Specific bank name?
You can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just- I just want to know. Potential conflict of interest before that.
We were just gonna keep them at the same place.
Although I don't make any money on accounts, let's just make that clear.
But I appreciate you mentioning that. So I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Second by
Please, you can do it.
Director Polisi, second. So any discussion? So Mary, can you do a little roll call?
That's all for
Yes.
Director Heppel,
Yes.
Director Stan,
Yes.
Director Polisi,
Yes.
Director Correll,
Yes.
Director Russell,
Yes.
Director Webb,
Yes.
Director Bus,
Yes.
Director Holbrook,
Yes.
and Director Stent.
Yes.
Then the other is to open a Payspan account.
So their workers required to use Payspan, I guess it's used in the healthcare industry. So we need, permission from the board to open that account. To be a WLFEA motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Director Webb to open the Payspan account.
I'll second it.
Second by Director Carrillo. Any questions on that?
So is Payspan, I don't understand what Payspan is.
It's like a payment platform that it's, payments are, this is what I know, are given to Payspan and then transferred to us in various,
Insurance company.
they're like a middleman.
So it's like somebody that's collecting, the people that are collecting our insurance payments and then they're giving it to Payspan and then they're giving it to us.
I called them and tried to get information, if you can go to their website and get information, it's very vague. It's they call it a financial platform. And so to me, that means it's like a bank account. You can move money in and out, you can send money ACH, you can, receive money in.
So how are we getting our money before?
We haven't been, this is for us to, for Wilker to charge, it needs to go through this Payspan.
Okay.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Is it technically Payspan Health?
Probably related to that. They're owned by another company.
Because there's a PaceBand consulting,
No, this is.
the PaceBand Health looks like the right, it's a health, empower your practice for electronic settlements.
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm not explaining it as well as I should, but
it just seems like we're going through. You know, we're paying another person part of the money that we should be getting in our pocket. If that's the only way we can get the money, it's the only way we can get the money.
It's like a clearance for insurance payments.
PaySpan offers healthcare reimbursement and payment systems that are secure, efficient, cost-effective choices for providers and payers.
Venmo.
PaySpan is now part of Dallas.
Cash App or Venmo. Okay,
Yeah, I actually tried to get you like a pamphlet, something, but they don't have anything. They weren't real clear on the phone. Their website's not very clear.
and what percentage do they take off of what we get?
I have no idea. I don't know the thing.
I think this is a requirement for us to get Medicare, Medicaid payments.
Okay.
Through Wilker.
Going into
The alternative
Kenny's
is
pocket then.
can't go, right?
He's not.
Which is,
So, I
which is
mean-
the big deal. You want that?
Yeah.
Right.
And like I said, I couldn't tell how. Other than giving her money, I really couldn't. Get enough information on whether or not we should consider it a bank account or not. So I'm bringing it to the board for a vote. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
And program manager Melissa House will be here next month at the board meeting. And we can get an update and ask her a question.
I think the motion still stands.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. WLFEA roll call.
Director Heppel,
Yes.
Director Stan,
Yes.
Director Policy,
Yes.
Grillo,
Yes.
Director Russell,
Yes,
Director Webb,
Yes.
Bus,
Yes.
Director Holbrook,
Yes.
Director Stan.
Yes,
I do appreciate these questions, and we probably should have been a little bit more prepared on that, but it just sort of seemed like common sense to them, but we should know better. Okay, agenda item 3, agenda bill for internet service.
This is in your packet. Our contract for internet came due. And rather than just signing a 5-year contract, we went and got quotes. And so we looked at Kayak, Spectrum, and Starlink. Kayak to cover 4 stations was $799.97. Spectrum for 6 stations and 2 to have a cellular backup in case the lines go down for internet. Is $13.05 a month, and then Starlink, if we were to have Starlink at all of the stations, all 8 stations. It would be $15.90 plus a one-time hardware fee of $6,493. So we are recommending that we go with the Spectrum contract. It'll be a 3-year contract. Which totals the $46,980. It will be $15,000, $660 annually. And then, like I said earlier, $13.05 monthly. Are there any?
Who's our contract with right now?
It's currently, we have CenturyLink at station 1. Spectrum is at all of our stations except for North Fork,
Yeah, I thought we were sure.
Engineering, and Oak Street.
And are we paying similar?
So it's $200.
I didn't bring up the document. It's actually a lot less. We'll be getting 3 months free as well. And then our plan is we kind of Andy put together a really nice little plan. Our next step will be to pick our cellular or our new phone company. And then we'll have to make some adjustments also to the security cameras, so that way all the security cameras, and any of the other systems can come through, the internet as well.
So we had the issue that couldn't go to Vermont else. Not only Vermont offers a coverage station. Hayek doesn't cover station 2. They don't have cable internet. Spectrum covers most of them except our outline stations, which we can, so we're using a combination of Spectrum and Starlink. We do have Starlink currently at Station 6, North Fork Station. Seems to be working really well.
I have experience with 3 providers because I've been here for a couple of decades. I also talked to some others. And the experience on coming up and down speech, basically, with the Starlink, you know, top speed of 1 meg, down about 5 meg. With the Spectrum, it's usually around 3 up and down, even when they see much higher. And then the new gig in town is the fiber optic with Hayek, and that is 1 gig up and down. And so I think we see that the community here is rapidly bringing in fiber optics with Hayek. Now that really is the future, and the cost is very low. In comparison, now there are some places, as you mentioned, where you want to have internet service, and where there isn't, but that's a matter of perhaps mixing with another carrier for just that spot. But right now, there's a lot of complaints happening with Spectrum. They are trying to
Catch up with Hayek.
Yeah, I believe that our intent was, couldn't get a firm date of when Hayek is going to reach Station 2, the hospital. But I think probably within the next 3 years or so, or when this contract is up, then seriously look at switching to Hayek.
Question, can you cancel this contract?
Those 3 years,
If you're 2 years into it, can you?
probably not, but this contract includes fiber at Station 1.
Are there any stations that we're gonna shutter? Remember there was talk about potentially trimming down and.
That's a conversation that we need to have. Yeah, I don't think we don't have, what do we call it, Station 9 or, yeah, we're not putting anything on.
Is that like a little garage way out in the boondocks? The one around the corner, what about it?
So this would allow us to get security cameras hooked up and then feed into our station here.
Okay. And then the one upriver,
North Fork.
there is no IAP or Spectrum out there. We've got
We're
Starlink.
using Starlink there right now. That's the one where we have one of our volunteers right there.
I don't understand computers, honestly, so I'm gonna have to ask Director Stamp, when you say a gig up, gig down, is that speed?
Yes, that is the transmission speed. Most of the time, people are talking about megabits. Gigabits is 1,000 more.
Okay,
Normally you want to have somewhere around 300 megs to be able to do video streaming or really be able to move around quickly. Of course, when we're talking about something like 1 gig, that doesn't mean you're always at 1 gig. But your burst speed goes up to 1 gig. I'm averaging 700 meg out in the countryside with higher. And currently, there are a number of programs that are being government funded for rural electrification. It's like rural electrification, but it's now rural internet connection. Because I'm in the movies, and here comes fiber optic, it's like, what are you doing here?
so that's paid for
Yes.
connection, broadband.
And there's a new program that actually was spoken of at the last Lane Council of Governments. That was just funded for additional expansion of the fiber out to here, the entire community. So not only do we see it spreading across towns like Florence, but also our countryside, which is where some of our stations are located.
Sure.
And they, I will say, yes, we will be there such a time. They say, oh, we'll be there next year or 2 or 3, and then next week they're there.
Got it. Then they just came through my neighborhood.
They are, you know, a lot of work.
So it's faster.
Yes. And
More
one gig, you don't have to worry about speed, reliability has been excellent. I had a few drops with the Starlink. The Spectrum has a lot of them. So your best reliability right now is Hyatt, which is actually a landline, so to speak, but it's fiber optic. Your Starlink is satellite connection. Use it itself, some landline connection to use the various stations, but they speak at much higher speed, but I found 1 up, 4 to 5 down. And at that speed, video streaming, for instance, no.
So long-term, then the goal would be to go with somebody like Hyatt. Once they get everything.
I think once they get their network all over there.
Director Webb said, mentioned that we can cancel. Or
Yeah,
once
not-
we sign it, we're locked in.
You can go with a shorter contract, it's more expensive. So they initially quoted 5-year contract, which was cheaper. I think it's more expensive the shorter contract to go.
Got it.
And they also offer backup, which Kayak doesn't. On station 1 and 2 for us.
Yeah, that's important. I was looking at that. So there is some redundancy here.
It's a cellular backup, so it's a fail safe, so if the lines for whatever reason go down, for whatever reason, right, the lines get cut, they have to bring it down for maintenance and can't bring it back up, for whatever reason, we will have the fail safe, and so it will be cellular. But we shouldn't notice a difference.
Okay.
And that's important if we're gonna go to a VoIP phone system. If the internet goes down, we're stuck. So we have to have some kind of backup for when that happens. And currently Kayak doesn't.
I would look to go with a spec contract for 3 years. We continue to review.
I'll second.
And this, will be Starlink at station 5 and 6.
That's fine.
Yeah. So we have motion by Director Webb, second by Director Buss. Any further discussion, question? We do a roll call vote, Mary?
Yes.
For what we,
Director Heppel,
Yes.
Director Stanton,
Yes.
Director Bleasy,
Yes.
Director Grillo,
Yes.
Director Russell,
Yes.
Director Webb,
Yes.
Director Buss,
Yes.
Director Holbrook,
yes,
Director Stanton.
Yes.
thank you. So new policies, all fire prevention policies. Fire section permits, investigations, code enforcement, alternative materials and methods. So if you have any questions, I encourage you all to read those. If you have any questions or comments, let us know. So now it is time for director comments. Any, you had a presentation?
I don't have a presentation on the LCOP, just to say that, I was last month, of course, attending the meeting of that board. The main thing that was brought up was the area plan, it's a rather extensive plan. I inserted that into the minutes. The evening portion is what was the presentation, very brief overview of what it is, and then a couple 100 pages worth of details. I thought that's just to let you folks be access to it and not to try to cover it.
Thank you. Any other director comments?
I do.
Go ahead.
I'll have to get Zoom share again. We can share. Mentioned at a previous meeting. I'm going to a conference, lodging requirements, I mentioned these for my basic needs. Done just cover that over. At the last conference, SDAO. I was looked into the Holiday Inn at $47 a night to do very nice suites, ground floor, and everything you needed, and only a few miles away from the conference center. This was in lieu of what was being planned, which is through the conference. And that would have been at $200 a night. Which would have been $600 versus $150. I'm just trying to bring the cost of the lodging down because we can better utilize that elsewhere. As I mentioned here, with all of us, and I'm not sure how many actually went or requested that. And I would have been saving around $3,000. In my own case, I was able to bring the cost down by $450. And that is what we come into what I suggested last time, which is to obtain some better equipment, in this case for better extrication of people and saving lives. Consisting of essentially a battery operated sawzall. These were items that I indicated. And the total cost of that was $150. In our vision statement specifies to be an efficient organization providing superior dispatch and fire and EMS service to our communities in emergency situations through innovative policies and procedures and a well-equipped, highly trained team of professionals. But we need to equip our people to expect them to be doing the best they can. These battery operated sawzalls is $150. Following my presentation last time, I understand that one such device was obtained, was tested, and found that surprisingly well cutting through metal, as was expected. My own savings of $450 means that this district can now equip 3 more vehicles with a battery operated sawzall versus having to use a portable generator, portable sawzall, and a bunch of blades meant for cutting soft nails in construction. And then again, what's $3,000? I'm going to expand on that. We currently have a project to expand the dormitory rooms because we need to house our shift personnel, going from something like 3 to 10 plus. The approach currently is to move the admin out of the administrative and apparatus building to build a replacement administrative building, and then to try to change, close, whatever the existing administrative area into a dormitory. We already heard back from the contract, well, the architects, that's going to cost something like $12 million just to get started. The other figures I've thrown here, we have the Lane County fees for building, because this is a custom built furniture. Stairs are going to raise the cost of materials tremendously. We're probably looking at something that's not good. Of course, the furniture and equipment. We talked something like 15 million. When we only have 10 million a year coming in. Last meeting that's brought up the 10 million is the cost. Say, well, this project probably isn't going anywhere, or we'll have to get some real serious funding elsewhere. So once again, I'm going to bring up a suggestion that I did way back in the beginning, and that is modular construction. Now I'm foreseeing here what it costs for a modular home, which consists of essentially 2 units brought over the highway for about 1,440 square foot house. The cost is roughly 140,000 to 165,000. What went in. Now, of course, on top of that, you have to add land. We currently have 145 square foot 2-bed dorms here in this building. We have bathrooms, which are around 200 square feet. We have a 250 square foot day room. To get some hallways. Well, that means that if we put all this into a 1,440 square foot double wide structure, we probably have about 6 dorm rooms, and the bathrooms and the day room. If we went double wide, double high, we would add another 8, because of course there are gonna be some stairs. So we're not talking not $10 million, but a much lower cost. And I'm hoping to convince this district to consider even looking at it. And here we have some already constructed. Here we have single high, double high, and it can get rather elaborate. Today's modular construction is very impressive compared to what it was long ago. Even to the point that there's an industry, why not? See if I can pull that up. Well, that's a video of a magazine that comes out several times a month about modular construction. Here, I have examples of actual modular dormitories, and you can see the range that's there. Very fancy, or they can be some block structures. These are all very inexpensive to build, because they're done off-site and they're brought in and dropped in place. Being dropped in place, you don't have to deal with all the inspections and permissions and plan reviews and so forth and so on, to the extent the cost is very much dropped and the time is much faster. And I mentioned here, there's even a conference, a world conference on modular construction going on in Las Vegas, April 7 to 10 of this year. If somebody wants to go and actually see what the industry has to offer. So I'm going to say that maybe we should consider something else. We can place this on the properties across the streets. The dorm spaces in the admin building will become available for office expansion, even though some rooms currently are used in storage. So that's about ability of having sleepers in an apparatus building due to safety concerns that Director Police pointed out. Being away from the daily noise, the sleepers will have better chance of getting good rest. This not being a stick built means far less interference. You have to go through all the custom inspections and checks and whatnot, much less. And being essentially a residential structure, it's an easy approval. It's like Legos. You can install whatever quantity of units you need. You can each unit to be something like 12 foot wide, 60 foot long. About 700 square foot per unit. And on top of that, this project can be such that it can be done in steps. You could have space for expansion if it's needed. Because we're talking about not only housing the shift people, but also other people coming in from other agencies. Temporarily, they're being housed in kind of makeshift some of the other stations. And here's something of interest. If we're talking under $1 million, right now, there's a bill that is going through Oregon to give nearly $1 million to the Central Douglas Fire and Rescue to add dormitories. They were getting it, maybe we can, so maybe our cost will be minimal. We won't be looking at 10 to 15 million, we'll be looking at some hundreds of thousands. So I'm simply offering this as an alternative idea, something for consideration. What we have now, because what we have now, I think is probably not going to happen at 10 million. Thank you for the floor. I'm returning to the audience.
Any other director comments? Last chance. Okay. Go ahead, motion to adjourn the meeting. So. Any objection? None heard, meeting is adjourned, thank everybody.
I second, Cindy did it, but I seconded it. Do we require a roll call?
I lowered the gavel on
We did actually think about that before, Director Stamp. One concern was having firefighters run across the streets.
It's a little used street in general, it's not a major boulevard. And yes, we will have some concern, but overall, the benefits, both in terms of cost, the ability to expand on this. Plus, we have a good admin building here, it can be improved a little bit for administrative functions. We don't have a safety liability issue of sleepers in a building that reps the money. And yes, everything has pros and cons, but I think the idea of taking this as just being, we need dormitory, build a residential structure.
With that design, we were looking at an additional bay